So my name is Kelly Crowster and I'm 28 years old. In 2018, I was diagnosed with major depression and generalized anxiety, which was coming on for quite a few years, and it triggered the major depressive disorder after going through a breakup, a really bad breakup, after being in a relationship for 10 years. Throughout the few months after being diagnosed with major depression, it was as if my life just came to a complete standstill. So many emotions and feelings. It got to a point where I was taking 11 different pills a day to deal with my emotions and my feelings and just to get through a day and to help me sleep. July 2018 was when I think I was in my deepest pit of depression. I was put off from work for a total of 7 weeks, where you usually get put off for 3 weeks for mental health, and it just was not getting better, and got to the point where I resigned from my job. And after that I was at home and I was not able to drive by myself. I was not able to basically do anything by myself. I constantly had my parents by my side. Eventually we got to August and I just felt so hopeless and like helpless, and like there was no way of getting out of that dark place that I was in. And I think it was the second week of August where I gave up. I basically just gave up because life was just getting too hard for me. So the night of the 15th of August, I attempted an overdose, and the night was a blur and I'd woken up in hospital. I was in the resus room and I just remember all of these doctors and nurses around me and going through the ugly stages of an overdose, of having your stomach pumped and being hooked to all of these wires and machines. And I remember at that moment, as I gained conscious, I said to myself, like, I told myself, what did you do? I don't want to die. And I remember those moments very vividly. The nurses were just constantly speaking to me, and I remember looking out of the door and there was a little window and I was hallucinating. The hallucinations, I think, were the worst part. I was constantly told by the doctors and the nurses, just like, hold on. And I know there was a point where they thought that they had lost me, but I was resuscitated again. And from there, I was transferred to another hospital where it just became so much more real, having to go to a public hospital and seeing what everybody else that cannot afford medical aid and the finer things in life, what they were going through. And I had waited 2 days in casualty before I got a bed in a psychiatric ward where I had to be observed for 3 days. That was also a major wake-up call for me, because usually you just see these type of things in movies, and then I was like, a rude awakening. It actually happens in real life. And I say, by the grace of God, my parents were able to get me out the very next day with constant pleading and begging. And I was transferred to a private clinic after there, and yeah, I got the help that I needed. The first 3 weeks after my attempt, I was just filled with so much, I just felt so blessed and I was just so grateful. But once I I will say it like this, like once I came down from that high, like, you know, I survived, like I made it. There were certain instances where I thought like, how did I fail? And it took me a long time to get over the fact of letting just the word suicide, overdose, certain words not affect me. But I'm now at the point where they do trigger something in me, but I'm able to work through it and not let it get to me to where it was before. It's definitely a daily acceptance that I have to go through, even to like 2 years on. And I think it's got a lot to do with, there's still very much that stigma attached to it, and I still feel like a lot of people tiptoe around me. They're wary of what they have to say, and I mean, I'm appreciative of that, but there are days where what people say, what I read, what I hear people go through really does get to me. And sometimes I wish I could just be like, you know what, can we just actually stop this? Because I know what it feels like to be I would like to say at the end of it. What it's like to feel judged, and what it's like to feel knowing that there are people speaking behind your back and judging you and feeling like, okay, we need to baby you, and not really. Just sometimes I just wish people would just allow me to be, and allow others to be. Like, just make sure that they know that you are there, and that you will listen, and not just feel like they're a burden, or, you know, okay, there's really something wrong with her. I was in denial for a very long time, and I feel like going through this journey, it actually made me sit down and think, and I was more able to pinpoint exactly where my anxiety started. Like, I can tell you at the top of my head, my anxiety started when I was in grade 1. I was bullied by a girl in grade 7, and I had forgotten about it. I blocked it out of my mind for so long. Come 2018, which is like how long after being in grade 1, I could actually sit with my psychiatrist and say, this is where my anxiety really started. It started with just like not wanting to go to school because I was so afraid of her, not wanting to do a test because I was so afraid of disappointing my teachers or my parents. And I felt like I could get the proper help that I really, really needed and I was seeking for. But because I was in such denial, it was just like, oh no, you'll get over it. In the beginning, it was very much, you know, Kelly, maybe it's just your moods, you know, maybe it's just PMS playing really bad this month. It's not depression, where all the signs were there. I think things have gotten so much better after I actually heard those words from a professional. Just on social media, there's just major platform for people coming out, females coming out. And sometimes I sit in such shock when I read stories of people that I know and I'm like, you would never, ever say that this person went through this. And I feel like during this time of coronavirus and that we've actually had to sit and look deep within ourselves. And I also feel for a lot of people, and one of my friends actually said this the other day, where when she came out with the story, she just felt so much better during this time having to do it from behind a screen. Simply because had we not been going through this pandemic, and eventually she would like come out to the face-to-face with people, she would be going through all of this anxiety, but she just felt so much more at ease being able to do it from the comfort of her home, from behind a screen. And I feel like with everything going on, especially gender-based violence, this is like female stance to be like, there's a problem. And it's not only affecting these people that you are hearing about on the news, on social media. It is your mother, your sister, your cousin, anybody that is so much more closer to you than you think. I look up to my mother through, like, she tops all of them. My mother and our relationship was not the best in the beginning, but I think over the past 3 years we've gotten so close where I would never have ever said these words, but she is my best friend. Like, my mother is probably one of the strongest females that I know. I look at how, when I was younger, she had gone through depression. When I was diagnosed with depression, she was going through depression, but she knew that she had to be strong for me. And it's like, the best way to put it is that she put her depression aside, she put all of her problems aside for me. And I think that was just so selfless of her, and I could see that it took a lot out of her, but even up until to this day, she puts her aside for me. Very simple one: let go, let God. The first time I heard that was in 2017, I think it was, a girl that I just met at college, and she always used to say, let go, let God, and I'd always just play in my mind, let go, let God. And that's when I just one day I told I was in a space where I was very unhappy. And one day I just said, let go, let God. And I had the strength to leave the relationship that I was in. And when I was in hospital, I said, let go, let God. And even up until this day, no matter what I do, it's always let go, let God, because I need to have that belief and trust that my worries are not my worries. He's there through everything. He has the plan, and his plan is greater than anything that I have for my own life.